Right, a good morning to, there's been a few more people who have joined us, and for those who have just recently joined, I'm Angela Brevet, and it's a very warm welcome to you all to our first, well, not our first, first this semester open day. And yes, we're going to start at 9:02, just to give the last few people a chance to enter the Zoom meeting. Thanks. All right, according to my watch, it is 9:02, and yeah, in the interest of time and working through the presentations, a huge welcome to you in terms of the protocol for this open day. If you can please just keep your microphones on mute unless you are speaking, and yeah, just to also turn off the video if you don't mind, because it affects people who are watching the download speed on their side. So yeah, for the people presenting, it's not great. We look at a few little names with little red microphones with no entries, but yes, it's the new way of the world. So from my side, I'm Angela Brevet. I'm the academic head of the IMM Graduate School, and for me, it's just an amazing opportunity to welcome you here today. The IMM Graduate School is an amazing institution. As far as universities go, we are absolutely up there, and we're really privileged to have you guys join us today to find out more about the IMM. There is a chat area, so please post questions. I would also like to welcome my colleagues here. We've got members of faculty, members of student support, our consultants, we've got our student support center people. So there's a vast number of IMM people here who are just really keen to help you and assist you. In terms of the IMM, and I think it's a, you know, COVID, people say, oh, you know, all of a sudden everyone's gone online. And as far as the IMM is concerned, we've always looked at new ways of teaching. And if we go to my first slide, we often say that, you know, if we teach our students the same way we taught yesterday's students, we rob them of tomorrow. And for those of you who have your parents here, they will remember. Those of you who are school leavers probably won't. But when I was at university, fax machines were just coming into play. And if we were still teaching our students about fax marketing and not about digital marketing or not about supply chain, we would be doing them a disservice. And so it's the content on the one hand, but it's also the way we teach. And we've been doing online digital learning for the last 3 or 4 years. And yeah, so for us, it's not something new. It's something that we keep improving on, so that our students have a better experience and a more fulfilling experience as distance learning students. Thanks. Next slide. So the IMM, and I think a lot of people, you know, we came out of the School of Marketing, and the IMM has actually been going for 60 years, longer than some of the universities that are our neighbors. And we're experts in marketing, business, and supply chain. And we look at the management functions of those 3 areas. And because we do that, and I think we do it really well, often in job adverts, you will see the qualification requested is an IMM Graduate School marketing qualification. It's also that our qualifications are globally recognized by industry. And during my presentation, I'll chat about that as well. The critical thing with that is, you know, our students have the ability to work elsewhere, and it really puts them in good stead going forward. Thanks, Maria. So this is quite a heavy slide, And I'm going to just touch on it very slightly because I think it's really, really important. You're investing your future with an institution. You're probably making the single biggest investment in your future. And you need to know that it's good. And you need to know that it's credible. And you need to know that it's going to be worth the paper it's written on. And so for me, there are 5 things that lead to a 6th thing in terms of why you should be studying with the IMM Graduate School. And one of the things we do is to focus on best-in-class content. It's no good us just having off-the-shelf kind of content. We tailor-make our content so that it's the best curricula for that specific subject. We refer to them as modules, so that you are being tested and taught what it is that makes that module tick and what will make you proficient in that specific subject field. The second thing is compelling digital delivery. We use technology as an enabler, and I'll take you through that a little bit later on. But what that does is it gives us a cutting edge in terms of our teaching and our learning. It makes us agile, it makes us able to adapt content. It makes it accessible for students who wouldn't normally have access to a university. And it provides our students with a different kind of learning style. So, students this year with COVID, some of the institutions were completely blindsided, and we weren't. We could just hit the road running, the ground running, because we've been working with this for a while. In terms of dedicated support throughout your journey, one of the most amazing things, and I always say, to be a great business person, you need tenacity, you need resilience. And our distance learning students have those traits. That's what makes them so employable. And what we do is we don't leave our students on their own. We give them dedicated support through technology, but also through personal interactions. And I think it's critical. It's not in the 80s, distance learning meant you would post your exams in, you would get a textbook, and that was the content that you needed to work through. Things have changed completely. It's so interactive, it's so engaging. And leading to that is we look at what's happening internationally, within the continent and across the borders and globally. Because the world, it's such a cliche, but the world has become so much smaller. So the case studies we use, the content we work with, which by virtue of the fact means that our qualifications are internationally recognized. Sorry, I think that was just a door. Because it's internationally recognized, we work through the CHE and we have a SACWA accreditation. And so if someone is applying to another university, that's what the SACWA accreditation puts them in good stead to be able to apply to a different institution. And then uninterrupted, flexible academic journey. What we mean by that is no matter where in the world you are, no matter what job you've got, you're able to continue your studies. With COVID, our students didn't defer. We carried on, and they carried on. Even in lockdown level 5, we could still be tutoring, we could still be doing assessments with our students. So that's a really, really strong thing. And so if you take those 5 things, what does it actually mean for you as somebody who's studying with the IMM, who wants to study with the IMM? The bottom line is we're going to improve your career prospects because of all those things that come into play. So it's not a single thing, it's a myriad of things that culminate into improving your career prospects. Thanks, Maria. So I mentioned the SACWA side of things, and I think, when I've done open days before, parents always ask me, is it accredited? Is this recognized? And it is. It is. All our qualifications are we accredited through the CHE, the Council for Higher Education. As an institution, we're registered with the Department of Higher Education. So we are a tertiary institution, a university. Quality assured by SACWA and the CHE. And those are very, very important things, because that means your degree is worth the paper it's written on. It's not a fly-by-night. It is a sound academic qualification. Very, very important. The international recognition and access to universities across the globe, as I spoke about in my previous slide. SAQA, countries overseas have the equivalent of SAQA. And so when you apply, they will look at the fact that it is a SAQA accredited qualification, and that will then mean it is equivalent to a qualification overseas. Obviously, every university has its own entry requirements, just like in South Africa, but your degree is recognized by virtue of the fact that it is SAQA accredited. And that gives you access. I was chatting to our registrar, Mrs. Lynn Berry, and we have hundreds of students applying for overseas universities, and they're successful in terms of those applications. We actually just did a thing to see the Canadian universities, and we used just our BBA as an example, and it came back in terms of equivalence, big tick, you can apply for a postgraduate qualification in Canada. Industry and professional bodies, and that's the big thing. When I spoke about the employability, or, improving your career prospects, the amazing thing is that we work with industry bodies and professional bodies all the time. I often go and present at conferences. On the supply chain side, we've really made a concerted effort, and Marcia will chat about it a little bit later on, but our qualifications are accredited by SILT, which is the Chartered Institutes of Logistics and Transport in the UK. So they've done an audit of our qualifications, and it meets the criteria that they are happy to endorse it. Thank you. So as a university, as a higher education institution, we're only as good as our product. And ironically here, our graduates are one product, but the faculty and the academics who put the content together, who do the assessments, are absolutely critical. And we have the amazing ability to employ just possibly the best academics in a lot of the fields. We've got professors, we've got doctors, we've got absolute brilliant academics with huge industry expertise as well. And one of the things that we pride ourselves on, and I mentioned it in terms of the technology, is our agility. We change content. We look at what's happening in the world around us. It's not static. It's not stuff that's come out of the ark. It's stuff that is relevant and pertinent to students today. And we try and see what are the trends, what are the things coming, so that we can prepare our students to be more forward thinking, to be more relevant in terms of their careers. And our academics, as I say, keep it current and keep it job relevant. They're constantly looking for industry trends. If you look at the world of supply chain and the world of marketing, it's so dynamic. Often they're spearheading change in organizations, and it's critical for us to be in touch with that. And I love this quote by Martin Luther King Jr., where he says, "The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education." And so for us, things like ethics, things like being a good, moral citizen, not only a corporate citizen, a person, are absolutely key to what we call the hidden curriculum. And you'll find that IMM does not school. We don't teach student things parrot fashion. We teach you to think. We teach you to evaluate. We teach you to be creative. And those are key things for the future. Thank you. The next slide. When we're talking about the future, and we're talking about the approach to our qualifications, you know, you can't only have industry stuff in an academic qualification. It needs to be rooted, it needs to be grounded in theory, in things that over time have made this subject a science. And so the academic rigor from our point of view is absolutely critical. You want to apply to Cambridge University, you need to have the academic rigor of referencing, of academic writing, of style, syntax, grammar, how to approach things, looking at a case study and looking at the different views of people, and being able to take these opposing views and to construct a really clear, well thought through answer. That's part of the academic rigor. We don't accept slapdash stuff. So our standards are really, really high here because we're a university, and it needs to be said that whether you get a degree from us or a degree from an Ivy League university, it's a degree. I've spoken quite a bit about the industry relevance, and that's so important, especially, as I said, the professional bodies and that endorsing our qualifications. Employability is really something that we focus on, because employability doesn't mean that you will get a job right now. Employability means that person I know can think. So even if you got your degree 10 years ago from the IMM, I know that those people are smart, they think critically, they can evaluate things. It makes them more employable. And that's a critical thing, because the industry relevance, and I use the example again, when I was at university, things have changed hugely since then, but I still need to be relevant. I still need to be employable. So that which I learned needs to still remain intact. On the job readiness side is, you've got to be able to walk into a job, and I'm going to use marketing communications as an example. You've got to understand what it means to brief an agency, to understand branding. So it's really the job readiness, and what's happening in this day and age is key for the job readiness. I ended off the previous slide talking about, forward thinking. And for us, future proofing is critical. Your degree needs to be relevant, and it needs to be something that is worth, as I said, the paper it's written on in 50 years' time, not only today. And so we need to future-proof our students so that they are still relevant and they are still highly employable 15, 20, 30 years down the line. We try and encourage this different thinking by using case studies, and case studies give us practical applications. And I mean, these are two case studies that we've used, where Muji, it's a brand from Japan. It's actually a global brand now, not found in South Africa, but they believe in no branding. And it's such a challenge for marketers to work with a brand that opposes the whole thought of branding. And we look at cases like that. We look at the cases like the Maseratis and the luxury brands. So yeah, from Muji to Maserati, those are the things that as an IMM graduate, you would have dealt with and had the opportunity to look at challenging brands. Next slide, please. We're going to go into quite a bit of detail about the qualifications, but essentially we're a business school with a strong marketing and a strong supply chain focus. And business, because marketing and supply chain happen in business, that's the glue that holds these qualifications together. We've got higher certificates, which are NQF 5, all the way through to our masters, which is an NQF 9. We've got diplomas, degrees, postgraduate diploma, and we've got 2 honors programs. And what is important with that is it gives you an opportunity in the academic world. They call it a scaffolding, but it gives you an opportunity to articulate, to move from a higher certificate to a diploma, to a degree, or from a degree to an honors, or from an honors to a master's within the IMM, which is really an amazing opportunity and something that we're really, really proud of, because in marketing terms, it's cradle to grave. We take you through your whole learning path and your academic experience. And so ultimately, those qualifications, we believe, will produce what we call the futureneers. And the futureneers are IMM graduates. They are people with great business acumen. You can't be a good marketer and you can't be a great supply chain manager if you don't have business acumen. Because the only thing that makes you relevant in a business is understanding the business. And so we pride ourselves on saying our futureneers are people with great business acumen who happen to be brilliant marketers and supply chain managers. Thank you. So how do we ensure that we have futureneers? And I spoke quite a bit about the technology and the online learning, but I don't know if you really realize just how much the shift happens in online learning. It's no longer me just teaching you stuff, content. It's now me focusing on you and you having access to this content, which means that you have the ability to study what you want, when you want. We call it asynchronous learning, but it's an amazing thing that online learning is giving us. It's not about the content, it's about you and the student and your experience. Thank you. So what is our online student experience? And I don't want to bore you with details, but this really excites me. So those of you who have been at school will know that you've got platforms where you have learning platforms, Moodle, Google Classroom, etc. And we use eLearn as our virtual campus. And we have a section that takes you through your welcome and your orientation. And then we've got your My Modules, which is almost like a classroom. For each module that you have, each subject, there are the study guides, the assessments, the extra reading, the continuous assessment exercises, little revision exercises. There's a myriad of things in that area. So it's like walking into a classroom. Your lecturer will do e-master classes, which are tutorials, and it's all housed in My Module. We've got my academic support, and Lars van Tonde, the Dean of Student Affairs, will be chatting through just a bit about our student support. But we've got their how-to guides, because this is a new environment for a lot of students, and we understand it. There's your eLearn results. We've got notices and alerts. We've got policies and rules, and because it's new. And where do I find this stuff? This is your landing page. Forms, if you need to complete something or you want to apply for something, that's where you find it. I'll contact us with our compliments and what we call the concerns, never criticisms. It's all available on this landing page. And under here, you also find our e-library. And because we're a distance learning institution, we use open source, we use a database called ProQuest, where our students literally have access to thousands of brilliant academic journals, absolutely top-notch, relevant academic journals at the touch of a button. And it's something that really we focus on hugely, that our students have proper, good resources to be able to become really good academics. Thank you. So when we talk about the student focus, so we've got eLearn, which is our platform, that is our virtual campus. And I think it's important to understand that there is support and things that we've built in as the IMM, which puts us ahead of a lot of other universities. Our study guides are interactive. It means you can annotate, you can type in notes, you can add things to it, you can highlight, which makes it such a usable, friendly workbook. And it's there for posterity for you. We have e-activities. So linked to a section, there's e-activities, which are little revision exercises. Some of them ask you to go and study or read up on stuff. The important thing is that we link what you've just learned to some trying to apply it practically. And we also have a thing called, linked to our e-study guides, where you can actually, we have voice recordings, so people who are visually impaired can listen. You know, some of us, we all have different learning styles. Some people use auditory functions to study, not visual. And so for them, it really, really is something that is great and helpful. But moving along, we have, so the interactive e-study guides. Linked to that are these e-activities. We also have the e-masterclasses. So the person who is the lecturer, who is setting the exams and all the assessments, who is the master of the content, actually does interactive tutorials. We have 7 throughout the semester. And we prefer to do them live online so that you can actually engage with the lecturer. You can ask questions. The idea is not that it's a lecture where you have one person just speaking. The idea is that you engage and you chat to your fellow students and you learn collaboratively. We have an e-discussion forum, so you're busy working through your notes. On eLearn, in that module place, you can type in a question. Either your peers, your fellow students will answer you, and it's monitored by the lecturer just to make sure that everything is in line, and that someone isn't taking you off the garden path. But the lecturer also posts questions to encourage you to think and to question things. We've got a thing called our PACER, and I think for most distance learning students and people who have just finished school, this is a godsend, because it takes the whole syllabus and puts it into bite-sized chunks. So you can actually work through the work and you can finish the whole syllabus without being in a state, because how do you pace yourself? So it's literally a pacer. I've spoken about our e-library, and we submit our assessments online. They get marked online, and so your formative feedback is all there on eLearn for you to see. What we do is an assignment feedback report for all our students, and that is after an assignment. We find that there are general things that either students have done really well or that they found more challenging, and so the lecturer gives feedback, comprehensive feedback, to assist the students going forward. We have exam preparation workshops, which it's an additional, but those are really great because they're done online, so anybody can access them. It's not as though you have to go to a place anymore, and the students find those really, really helpful. And obviously supplementary exams. Thanks. Next slide. So I'm going to introduce Anissa Fielding to you. She is one of our great marketing lecturers. Anissa is going to chat to you a little bit about the qualifications, but more specifically on the marketing side. And for me, there's really critical things that Anissa is going to cover. A, why should you be doing marketing? Why should you be doing marketing through the IMM? And then what can I do through the IMM? What qualifications and what one would best suit me? So yeah, please remember to post questions, and over to you, Anissa. Thanks.
Thanks, Angela. Hi, everybody. So I've been in the field of marketing for over 30 years, and I'm someone who gets bored very quickly. And I can tell you, in my career, marketing has been the best thing for me, the industry as such. It's kept me rooted and interested, I must say. And I'll talk about it a little later in the presentation about your career opportunities, but they are huge, and I'm as excited today about this industry as I was when I started my studies some years ago. When I studied, and some of my colleagues will agree, I mean, things such as social media wasn't even on the radar. It wasn't even included in our qualifications that we did way back when. So the journey for marketing is an ever-learning opportunity. And the IMM and our myriad of qualifications allows you at different periods of time in your career to step in and up the game in terms of your academic qualifications. So I'm as passionate today about marketing as I was way back when, and I hope you feel the passion once you've gone through this process with us today. So Maria, next slide, please. Marketing is always a very exciting environment to be in, and I thought let's start off with a few questions, and you're welcome to post them on the chat forum in this meeting, and if not, let's just talk through it in any event. So, and once I've done with this slide, you'll get the gist of why I'm asking these questions. So things such as, what brand of coffee did you drink this morning? And it's not just simply granules that you pick up, or you walk through a queue in Pick and Pay, Woolworths, and you just grab a cup of coffee or a bottle of coffee that you're going to use at home. There's a lot of thought that's gone into it, subliminal thought. There's lots of influences that have played a role in you actually making the decision on what brand of coffee. So have you bought anything online? COVID has changed the online space in the last 9 months. And in fact, I was reading an article in Fortune magazine where they said it is actually sped up the online purchasing progression by 2 years, which is interesting. And then as a marketer, you need to ask yourself, but how does that affect my business? I was listening to a talk on Mags on Media, or Media on Mags. I can't remember the name of the program, but the conversation was around one of our retailers, in fact, saying, how has COVID affected Black Friday? Are we going to be expecting as many people in queues as we did last year? And how companies have had to gear up digitally to be able to address this issue. Angela was saying Starbucks. We all know Angela's a Starbucks fanatic. I did not drink coffee until a little while ago. Actually last week, I was intrigued by what they had to offer in Starbucks, and it's this nifty little cup. The minute it's green, the minute you pour a hot beverage in, it turns red. So that's what intrigued me. So I'm now on the Starbucks drive as well, Angela. Another question, for example, is what do you think about when you think about Mercedes-Benz as a brand? In my instance, it's things such as luxury. It's things such as convenience and comfort. It's a superior brand. What do you think about when you think Volkswagen or the little bug? Now that appeals to a student, for example. It's sexy, it's in, it's fast. So these are questions that marketers ask and are relevant to the marketing environment if you're a marketing manager, brand manager, whatever the case might be. So what is the key? Angela's saying Mercedes, German engineering. We know that's superior. So the key, or the golden thread amongst all of these questions, is the word marketing, or the discipline marketing. And marketing is a vast topic, and I hope to, through this discussion, give you some direction and give you some insight into the myriad of career opportunities you will have as a marketer. Thanks, Maria. So, marketing definitely makes the world go round. I had and Angela knows this as well, and our career paths have crossed through the many years, and we had a mentor who always used to say, marketing is the business and the business is marketing. And to me, that is key. No longer is marketing relegated to a small team of individuals stuck away in an organization. In fact, people are saying today that marketing is the business and the business is marketing, and every touch point in the organization plays a role in the marketing mix. So if you look at marketing that makes the world go round, in fact, marketing has touch points everywhere from a career perspective. There's the discipline of strategy, and you get business strategy, then you get marketing strategy as such, and they're very closely interlinked. But then you get creative strategy in the agency world, which is very exciting. That's where you look at taking what the business has scoped as their strategy, via the marketing team, and you develop a creative product that actually amplifies or helps build that strategy or that strategic journey for an organization. Key component of the marketing world is all about research. Now, research is as broad as you can imagine. There's product research, there's brand research, there's researching your ad before it goes live into the industry. So that itself, research is a science on its own, a very exciting environment to play in. And if you're in marketing, you will be touching across all of these disciplines in any organization where you are functioning as a marketer. One of the key components of marketing is being a responsible individual in terms of the budget that you're spending. We no longer just create ads for the sake of advertising. We need to do it responsibly. We are accountable to the CEOs of the organization. They want to know what return is my marketing activity bringing to my bottom line. Obviously, no one wants to waste money. And marketing today, we need to be responsible marketers. And so part of our learning in the IMM has a lot of our qualifications has a strong financial focus to it. And it's extremely important to understand how to measure everything we do as marketers. Centered to everything, of course, is the customer. At the end of the day, I'm a customer of the IMM. I studied through the IMM, how else? But you're a customer, potential customer through the IMM. And Angela was mentioning how important it is to keep our qualifications relevant all the time. So for a marketer, it's extremely important to tap into who your customer is, what their needs are. You need to listen to your customers, and we call it social listening. And it's important to engage positive and negative in a very responsible way with our customers. So centered to the entire marketing gambit is the customer. Obviously then, touching across one of the fundamental models in marketing is your 4Ps model. And from an academic perspective, there are other Ps. We're not going to talk about that now. But it's all around product, price, promotion. So making sure we offer the relevant product. They talk about products of one now, markets of one now. In the past, with Ford, you just offer a Ford. You can own any color Ford as long as it's black. The world has changed dramatically. We are offering one-on-one type products, customized. You can now go in and order a book, for example. I saw it advertised on Facebook the other day. Customize your diet, but not only the diet itself, but the book that this diet is housed in, with photos, and if you're gluten intolerant and you're a vegan, etc. So marketing has changed. We talk about worlds of one, and we talk about worlds or vast worlds out there. So marketing, the tools you're going to learn in the qualifications are going to set you up to take this entire universe into consideration. And as you can see, it's exciting and it's vast. Next slide, Maria. Great. What I want to talk to you about now, this is actually, it's a small bit of what your marketing career allows you to, or has an opportunity for you going into the future. So you could, for example, be working in an organization and not have any qualification, and you decide, due to your exposure in the organization, marketing is it. Or you could be leaving school and decide off the bat, marketing is it for you. Whatever the case might be, we have obviously the qualification to facilitate your career journey. And that journey is as vast as you want it to be. You can start off, for example, as a marketing intern, a sales rep, a marketing assistant in a marketing organization. I started off while I was studying, working for a small marketing consultancy. I then progressed as a marketing assistant, in fact, and then I progressed into one of the corporates, and from there I went into another corporate in the services marketing. So you can progress your career as you see fit. You can go into the services industry, you can go into pure product marketing environment, you can go into different industries such as banking or telecommunications or the motor industry. It's as vast and as opportunistic as you allow it to be. As you progress up the ladder, obviously we've got the qualifications that help you step into that next level of your career. And in the past, years back, your highest opportunity from a career was to be head of marketing. Today, that landscape has changed, where your CEO, the feeder into the CEO position, used to be from a finance perspective, your engineers or your CAs. That world has changed dramatically. You're now finding marketers with strong marketing qualifications taking up the role of CEOs now. And that's what I meant when I said marketing is the business and the business is marketing. Marketers now sit at executive level and top positions in organizations, and they are feeding and guiding strategy. They are feeding and guiding business disciplines. And that's why you also see the very a strong connection. Supply chain is part and parcel of that full value chain where marketing cuts across. So it's, as I said to you, in my 30 years, I've never been bored. I've been able to jump around, do various things in marketing, gone from a corporate environment into an advertising agency, digital agency, a retail agency, and today, marketing, I'm sitting in the IMM and I'm a lecturer, where I'm lecturing on marketing with my experience, and a lot of our other, all of our other lecturers have same kind of experience, if not better. So it's a wonderful opportunity as you go through different phases in your life. Marketing definitely sets you up for a platform that's diverse as you want it to be. Next slide, please, Maria. All right, so Angela did mention, I'm going to get into some of the qualifications quickly. We have two key marketing undergraduate programs, our highest certificate in marketing management and the diploma in marketing management. And I'm a lecturer for one of the modules in the diploma, as well as the BBA I'll talk to you about a little later. So the highest certificate is quite relevant to school leavers, individuals who want to work in the world of marketing or the world of business, but you don't have a qualification. So it's also relevant, and not all of us on the first bat have access or university exemption. So this qualification is great to use as that stepping stone to get into the study career or into your study program and then progress from there, as Angela mentioned, in terms of the laddering effect from a certificate into a diploma into a degree. You learn to become an excellent communicator with this qualification and to understand the fundamentals of marketing and how business works. Okay, the principles of marketing, and included in this obviously is the digital space, the social media space, etc. So it's very relevant, very up to date, a very nice qualification to ease into the learning world with a progression to study further in marketing. Also, we touch on sales in this environment. You'll see a little later, we do mention that no university currently has a dedicated sales qualification, but you'll see the IMM has built sales into sales and project management, as a matter of fact, because that's fundamental to marketing across our different qualifications. So the diploma in marketing management, also a great qualification. It's very practical. I know this because I lecture in it. And one of the key things that we do here is to test your knowledge in a real environment. In other words, how do you apply the academic qualification or the academic knowledge you get in a real case study environment? And our content is refreshed on an ongoing basis. I'll give you an example. The study guide for integrated marketing communications on our BBA, and across the board, I'm just talking from my reference on the two modules I lecture, and marketing communications in the diploma, we've had to relook that given what's happened in the last 9 months on COVID, and to understand how that has impacted the marketing fundamentals in these two modules. And the same goes for any of our other modules. Supply chain management, which Marcia will talk to you about a little later, that's been a fundamental shift in terms of changing our content because of what's happened with COVID. So graduates here in this qualification have a firm grasp of the broad-based marketing fundamentals, and we try and test their thinking, give them different ways of thinking around marketing. And your modules range from a strong focus on application of skills and knowledge, as I mentioned, to start and then manage sustainable entrepreneurial and small businesses at the end of the day. So this kind of qualification is great for someone who has a small business, needs to do the marketing themselves. It gives you a great foundation for that, but also gives you a great foundation for participating in a corporate from a management or business management perspective as well. Next slide, please, Maria. So those were our marketing undergraduate programs. Then I'm going to talk to you quickly about our marketing undergraduate degrees. Yeah, we have the BBA, which is our Bachelor of Business Administration. And then we've got the BCom in Marketing and Management Sciences. And these are both top-notch qualifications, stand their ground on the international stage, and are well supported. Our students love these qualifications. Next slide, please, Maria. I'm going to take you through a little bit more detail on both of them. So the BBA in Marketing Management, this is specifically for students who want to gain a really intimate knowledge on marketing and business management. You'll see there's a strong marketing focus here as well, and I'll talk you through that. These are for professionals that are currently working in a marketing environment, but they have limited or no academic marketing experience. So a lot of times you find people that started off in an organization, they might have been in operations or retail, they found their way through their knowledge and their hard dedication into the marketing space, and this is their career. And this qualification will, if you don't have a marketing qualification, it's a great one to have. So BBA, as an acronym, we use it because it's internationally recognized, all right? As I mentioned to you, it's the Bachelor of Business Administration. So it's right up there with top-notch marketing qualifications in the industry. There's an added advantage, and you'll remember I mentioned to you in a slide previously, we need to be financially savvy. So finance is the third major in this qualification. So it definitely equips you to be a responsible marketer in the boardroom and talk the corporate finance lingo from a marketing perspective. As I mentioned, it's strong marketing focused. You've got global marketing, you've got brand management, which is a fabulous, all of these are fabulous modules. You've got integrated marketing communications. Their lecturer is fantastic. That's me. Anyway, and so they are compulsory modules with a strong marketing focus. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure our students are equipped with top-notch marketing knowledge that stands them to good stead, not only locally, but internationally as well. We know a lot of our students are studying a postgrad through international institutions. So these kind of qualifications set them up as a solid grounding to take that step. There are various electives to choose from, some really exciting ones, guys. Digital marketing obviously is a no-brainer. Retail marketing, that is a science on its own. The fact that being a merchandiser in a retail space, that's a very, very technical career to have, a very exciting career. The advertising tactics that you learn in a retail agency are very different to the kind of tactics that you'd apply, for example, on a bank, etc. So it's a science on its own, the retail space. Services marketing, also exciting, very different kind of marketing applications there as in a traditional product marketing, but also an exciting module. And then research, of course, is key. I mean, that forms the basis for your not only at a practical level, but an academic level, should you want to go postgrad and do our honors and our masters, obviously going forward. Maria, next slide, please. Yeah, I'm going to chat to you about the next qualification. Next slide, please, Maria. All right, so this is all about the BCom Marketing and Management Science. So this is for students who want to pursue a little bit more of a general management kind of approach with an emphasis on all-round business skills, and then obviously in the fields of business management and marketing management. So it's a little bit more broader in context than your BBA, not so marketing focused as the BBA is. Yeah, your third major choice of subjects is sales management. Remember, I mentioned to you earlier about no institution in South Africa offers a fully fledged degree in sales or a diploma in sales. So we've started bringing in sales management, project management, supply chain management. These are all key elements, and you'll find as a marketer, they slot into the value chain in the organization. So it's important that we understand these disciplines as well. Project management in my career has been a constant part of my career development, and it's an extremely important or learning or topic to have or learning school for you, because everything we do is about managing projects. We're managing individuals in different divisions, we're managing the execution of a campaign, we are managing the launch of a product, we are managing the import of goods coming in from abroad, etc. So project management as marketing is a fundamental component of what we do in this industry. So the project management stream as well will introduce you to MS Projects. It's a software program. And so we have to stay abreast of the times, because this industry is changing on an ongoing basis as well. From a commerce perspective, those were what I mentioned to you in the marketing, the sales management, etc. We look at business statistics. You'd say, why is that necessary? It links into understanding the ROIs. It links into understanding the financial environment, the economic principles. So what makes the dynamics in the industry happen out there, both micro and macro. And then finance, as I mentioned to you, the astute marketer needs to be financially savvy. So these modules will help you become that responsible marketer. Again, research, as I mentioned to you, it's fundamental in furthering your studies, but not only that, important to understand the research is key to understanding your customers out there. So the principles of research are important in this qualification too. Maria, next slide, please. Oops, one back. Our marketing postgraduate programs, I'm not going to get into detail, but also exciting, guys. We've got a postgraduate diploma in marketing management. We've got the B4 honors in marketing management, also highly sought out. And then the prestigious MPhil in marketing as well. Very exciting. So once you've gone through your journey, don't think it ends once you've got your degree or your diploma. We can definitely take you to the next step as well with our great qualifications. Next one, Maria, thank you. So linking into what Angela said, why study at the IMM Graduate School? And I know I'm passionate about the IMM. I joined the IMM as a member way back when I started my career. And I've walked a journey with the IMM. So I know the IMM not only from a student perspective, but from a corporate membership perspective, and now from working in this environment. And that's one thing. I'm an authentic marketer. I don't support a brand I don't buy into fully. So from my perspective, it's a no-brainer to study in this environment. We've got great colleagues. They are there to continuously engage with you as students. I'm passionate about the students, so I love to engage on eLearn with the students. I love participating in the master classes just to understand. Most of our students, a lot of our students are also working. So for me, it's a continuous learning process as well to get insights from our students. They challenge us as lecturers as well, and that's fantastic. We've got lecturers that have vast industry experience, so that absolutely counts for something. It counts for when we translate that academic work into the practical scenario. And I often refer back to when I was, is the term the students already start, when I was in that organization, when I was in that division. And it gives us an opportunity to make the academic work come alive. And it makes it a lot more interesting for the students. I think you get a holistic exposure to the field of marketing. You saw when I quickly went through the qualifications, the vast spectrum and how vast marketing as a topic is. And we have inculcated that entire spectrum succinctly into our qualifications. It is a challenging environment, but hey, you want a qualification that stands the test of time at the international field. So why must we make it easy for you? All right. We need to challenge you because you are going to challenge your executives. You are going to challenge your peers in your corporates that you're working in. You are going to, if you own a business, you need to challenge yourself every day to be better at your game. Okay. We're practically driven we use real life case studies. I set up the exams or the assessments and the assignments for 2 modules. And one of the biggest challenges for me is to find relevant case studies that will pique the students' interest, that are truly up to date with where the world of marketing is going. So it's an extremely important part of our environment to make sure that the case studies we bring you are different, are unique. So from Apple to Chappies, for example, good old Chappies, I love the brand, that it's always growing, building, and making sure our students have access to the best kind of information from a case study perspective. So I just want to quickly share something with you. Yeah, you can go. Thanks, Maria. You know what? The world is changing, guys. Companies are competing for the same market. Years ago, it was just South African companies. When we opened up to the global stage, we are now competing with global companies. I know you've heard it before. So today, it's not only organizations that have an operational sound foundation or that are financially strong that are going to come out tops. Today, there's a third category in there. If you are not marketing focused throughout your organization, your customer, first and foremost, is not going to know about you. They're not going to know about your products. They're not going to know about your offering. So marketing is a fundamental component to ensure the success of any organization going forward. So your career in marketing is secure. Marketing, in other words, will never, ever go out of fashion. And marketers is such a sexy environment to be in. We make things happen. So guys, marketing is it. I don't think there's any other choice. I'm going to hand over to Marzia, who's going to take you through the wonderful world of supply chain management. So over to you, Marzia.
Thank you, Anissa. Can you all hear me okay?
Perfect.
Angela? Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Hello. From me, I'm Marzia Storpioli. I'm the program manager for supply chain management for the School of Supply Chain. And it's very exciting to be here to disclose, to share with you the imperatives for what I call the new normal and what is generally discussed and thought of as a new way of doing business in the future post-COVID. Could I have the next slide, please? So what is the new normal? Oh gosh, well, there was a word new in there somewhere. The general feeling is that we can't go back to the way as economies, the way we were operating before COVID. And it's not yet clear what is needed to be effective and successful. But what is absolutely certain is that supply chains have to reinvent themselves. And we have a wonderful example of how it is possible to do just that. You will have seen in the news that there is very soon going to be a vaccine which can immunize us all against this coronavirus. That has been a miracle, a scientific miracle. And it's an example of how a supply chain can adopt resilience and become agile in a world where something that previously took 5 years to bring to market has now taken possibly less than 6 months. And that supply chain has completely reinvented itself. It has retained all the quality aspects of a supply chain, but it has completely compressed the time from invention to delivery, compressed the time into a few short months. And that's because the need was there, a global need. Could I have the next slide? Thank you. The global need has driven companies to rethink their supply chains. And what's become very, very evident is the skill shortage is even more acute. No longer is it just let's get some people into the supply chain, but the people that we get into the supply chain must be suitably qualified. They have to have cutting edge know-how. They have to know what's changing, because things are changing in the supply chain every day. And they have to be current, relevant, and they have to be thinkers that can reinvent the supply chain or be able to implement the changes that our supply chain needs so that our business can actually succeed. The last 8 months have shown us how very fragile supply chains are, and that has to be remedied. We've also seen that disruption, and particularly disruption from global events, will impact any supply chain. So the supply chain manager of the future must have resilience. They must have the ability to adapt and react whatever the situation is. And supply chains are and will become even more complex, simply because we are accessing, from a marketing perspective, as Anissa explained, we are accessing global markets. And if you are marketing to a global audience, your supply chain must be fit for that delivery, for a global delivery, delivering to a global customer. So whether you're importing or exporting, whether you're simply a national or local supply chain, there will be global implications. And therefore, the expertise in supply chain managers has to be of a global relevance. Could I have the next slide, please? You may be wondering why I'm showing you a slide of air quality over China. A very relevant and very important, critical, in fact, fact has come to the fore. What you're seeing on the left-hand side is China in January. That's the area where the COVID pandemic or the COVID virus initially erupted. And you're seeing the same region 1 month later. And that is showing you when all the factories and all the supply chains within that area shut down because they locked down China, the air pollution disappeared and dissipated. Could I have the next slide, please? Thanks, Maria. So a new knowledge required by companies, or a new ability required by companies, is to be able to reinvent a supply chain that does not have that negative and harmful impact on the environment. They have seen, the world has seen, what can happen when you shut down supply chains, which means that supply chains are hugely polluting. So the supply chain managers of the future have to know how to address that for the good of the planet. So with the increasing complexity, to be able to address the environmental needs is a new challenge that is facing supply chain managers around the world. And the supply chain managers that leave IMM will be able to understand that important role that they play in global economies. Consumers are shifting from purely buying brand to considering service alongside brand. And they're also moving to a solution where they simply use a commodity rather than own it. And just by way of example, Boeing is now renting its engines. The Rolls-Royce engines are actually being used and then returned to Rolls-Royce when they are no longer working or no longer functioning properly or at the end of a contract, which means that supply chain managers have to understand how to be able to service a client who isn't just buying your product, but wants to use your product on an ongoing basis without actually owning it. And that's a whole new area of supply chain management which never really existed before. Another thing that has been very, very evident in the last 6 to 8 months is the increasing levels of risk. We have seen the risks that impact the world or have impacted the world when a virus spreads as it is spreading currently. We've seen what happens when we go out of lockdown or we release the levels of social mobility, and we've had to go back into lockdown again. And we will see that in the future months, even possibly after the vaccine is freely available. And supply chains have to know how to persist and continue to operate despite these changes, which will disrupt normal economic activity. Another area that supply chain managers have to deal with is, in fact, the increasing global events, which could be weather, they could be social unrest, they could be droughts, floods. Those are all major disruptors. And perhaps you think, well, I'm sitting in Bloemfontein, and that's where my supply chain is. And what happens in Jakarta can't possibly impact on me. Well, actually it does, because without a doubt, much of what is brought into South Africa nowadays comes from various places in the world, including Indonesia. So if there's a disruption in Indonesia, it will actually impact a supply chain anywhere else in the world, pretty much, as Anissa says, like the butterfly effect. So when a butterfly flaps its wings in Brazil, you get a tsunami in Japan. That's pretty much the effect. And that increases the level of risk dramatically. So risk management is a whole new career path in supply chain management, which never really existed before. We have some qualifications, 2 new ones, which I'd like to introduce. And we also have existing qualifications, which will support students to be able to meet those needs, the needs that are in supply chains in the economies around the world. So the first new one is a higher certificate. And this is essentially a platform or a springboard for an individual who does not qualify for entry into a degree program and needs to prepare for that next step. It's a broad module that actually explains or clarifies the important elements and the disciplines within a supply chain that then prepares a student to be able to go into a fully fledged degree, such as the one that Anissa mentioned, or in fact the BCom in International Supply Chain Management, which I'll speak about shortly. It is accredited by SILT, and Angela mentioned that. So that is an internationally recognized institution. And it's at NQF 5. And of course, it is assured by SACWA, the Council for Higher Education. The next new qualification is our Honours in Supply Chain Management. This is will be available from January of next year. It's at NQF 8, also CHE assured, and also, very interestingly, it is accredited by SILT. And this is the pathway to a master's qualification. The individual that would be interested in a seat at the boardroom table in future through a supply chain mechanism would be looking at that honours degree. That would be a natural continuation of a BCom in International Supply Chain Management, or our BCom in Marketing and Management Science. And of course, our the qualification that we introduced in earlier this year, which is a degree that focuses on all the disciplines within a supply chain, such as procurement, transport, and logistics. And both transport and logistics and procurement have become extremely relevant simply because the world in the last month has demonstrated that procurement strategy and transport and logistics strategy can impact on the success of a business when you have a disruption, a major disruption to your supply chain, such as the pandemic has been. So yeah, that's the last qualification that I'd like to share with you. And yeah, hand over to Irene, who's going to take it from here. Thanks, Irene.
Thank you so much, Marcia. Good morning, everybody, and it's really wonderful to be here with you and to tell you a little bit more about our student support centers. You can move on to my first slide. Thank you, Maria. There's a Japanese proverb that states, "Better than 1,000 days of diligent study is one day with a great teacher." That is what we offer you at our student support centers, but not just one day. We offer you 12 weeks of tutorial sessions each semester with a really great tutor. And these tutorial sessions are there to really enhance your distance learning experience. We offer these tutorials in both contact mode and also in online mode, which we call SSCE tutorials. The contact sessions run both during the day and in the evening. Different centers offer day and evening. I will take you through just now which centers offer which mode of delivery. And then, as I said, we also have the SSCE tutorials, which are offered in the evenings. The risk of feeling isolated when you're doing distance learning studies is something that is very real. And what our tutorials do is really give you a student community. And you are there in these tutorials able to network with your peers, to collaborate with them, to bounce your ideas off each other, and to see varied perspectives on the different modules and content. You'll also get feedback from industry experts, from your tutors, who come with a wealth of experience, of industry experience that they're able to share with you. They will take you through your paces and your content to really aid you through your studies and to really guide you, as I said, to bounce off difficult concepts and to help you to apply the theory that you are learning in your distance studies. They will take you through case studies and bring their practical application of what they have been through in industry into the classroom. We also work with really aiding our students to think critically. So our tutorials are not a lecture. We are there to really, as I said, teach you to think critically, to take your content and to really apply it into the workplace. Our groups are small, so you are not just a number. You're really able to build relationships with your tutors and with your peers and also with the staff at each of the different support centers. As you can see on the slide, we have these centers in Cape Town, in Stellenbosch, in Johannesburg, we have Milpark, we have Sandton, and we have Pretoria. Our Sandton campus will be moving to a new center in the new year, which we are really very excited about. And in Pretoria and in Edenvale, we also have Edenvale in Johannesburg. And then, as I said, Durban, Cape Town, and Stellenbosch. Cape Town and Durban and Sandton will only be running evening classes in 2021. Pretoria and Edenvale will be running both day and evening, as well as Milpark. And then, exciting news for 2021, if we can move on to our next slide, is our new campus in Stellenbosch, which is really exciting, a brand new premises, which will really offer the school leaving target audience, which is the majority of our Stellenbosch student body, a really fantastic facility, beautiful views of Stellenbosch, and we will have a beautiful deck that will look out over the mountains, stunning information center, a cafe courtyard downstairs where students can grab something to eat. And for those students who cycle to campus, there will be parking for bicycles, secure tie-in, where you can strap in your bicycle, as well as parking for vehicles. And we even have showers for cyclists who want to pop into a shower before they attend classes. As I said, each of our campuses really have quite a diverse group of students, with Sandton being predominantly evening students, and as I said, Stellenbosch being predominantly school-leaving students. And then, as I said, we also have our online SSCE tutorials. We started these when lockdown hit us earlier this year, and they've just proved to be so successful, and a really awesome way for students to study, and it's really been embraced by a huge group of our students that we have decided to carry on with this mode of delivery, and we will continue with our e-tutorials into 2021. We will keep these groups small, that there is individual attention. We do offer breakaway sessions within these e-tutorials, so students do break away into smaller groups to interact and collaborate with peers. One advantage of this mode of delivery is also that all these classes are recorded. So students who do register for these sessions are then able to go back and watch them, to revise before the final assessments. Or even if you miss a class, you're able to go back and go and watch the classes. We also maintain contact with you, with the e-tutorial students via WhatsApp groups. So the Student Support Center staff are in close contact with you and are there to motivate you and help you through your classes, even though we don't see you at a physical Student Support Center. Thank you. We can move on to the next slide. So yes, besides offering the tutorials at our student support centers, we do also offer workshops, as Angela mentioned earlier, before exams, which really just help you to recap and take you through some difficult concepts prior to the exams, and go through past papers and work through those with you, and just help you to embrace your exams and just prepare for those. We also offer some events at student support centers. This was more active prior to COVID. Obviously, because of COVID, we have held back on those during this year, but if things lift and go back to normal in the new year, we do plan to offer more events at our student support centers. So yes, we do really encourage you to join a student support center. A lot of our students do advocate that it has been the SSC community that has really got them through their studies, and we really look forward to welcoming you to one of our centers. I'm now going to hand over to Tyrell, who is our National Sales Manager. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene, and greetings to all. I'm really excited to take you through the registration and payment process. We can go to the next slide, Maria. So the first step would be to apply online, and this can be done on our website, which is www.imm.ac.za. From there, a consultant will then be in contact with you to assist you the following. 1, assess entry-level requirements to study at the IMM, help you decide on the most suitable qualification, discuss the various modules for the semester and throughout your qualification. At this point, you'll also discuss the fees for the semester and the payment options that are available. You also have the opportunity to address any other questions that you may have with the consultant, and then settle on a program that you'd like to then join. There will be documentation that is required, which would be your identity documentation and your latest or highest qualification. This can also be submitted whilst you're applying online. If you do not have your documents on hand, you're more than welcome to also email your consultant your information. The next step from there would be for you to then register, and that's in the form of paying a registration fee, which is 1,800, and completing your personal information. Once you've completed that, you would then get a student number, and you are able to select your payment option. Now, just to quickly take you through our payment options, we have 3 that's available. So the first option would be an upfront payment. This is where you would settle your fees in full prior to commencement. The second option would be a study loan. So you're also able to apply at the various banks that offer student loans, and you're more than welcome to take this as an option as well. Then there's a third option, which we refer to as a payment plan. So if you're interested in taking a payment plan with the IMM, please feel free to chat to your consultant and they will be able to provide you more information regarding this. At the present moment, we have an early bird discount, which saves you 8% for the 2021 semester intake. So please take full advantage of this offer, right? And the sooner you register, the better it is. You can start preparing for the semester ahead. Consultants are then able to send you your textbook list, and then you are then sorted for the new year ahead. We'd also like to hear from you. So please give us a call on 0861 466 476. Send us an email as well to info@immgsm.ac.za. We'd like to hear from you and we look forward to it. So thank you. Thanks, Miriam. I'll now hand over to Lars, who is our Dean, Student Affairs.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad that you have, specifically for those who in Gauteng, like myself, that you got out of bed a bit earlier with the nice weather outside. So in terms of student support, we are a small team, but a very active team. And our role is specifically to support you. And as Dean of Student Affairs, one of the functions I have is to ensure that we provide you with all the information you need to make sure that you are acutely aware of any challenges that may come across your study path, that you are fully aware of important developments. And as I will go through the slides, as you will notice, specifically during the COVID period and lockdown, the team within student support played a massive role to ensure that students were fully aware of all the changes. And we had to close offices, move everything online, and through the student support team, we ensured that students were fully aware at all times of changes to the method of examination, which we then refer to as final assessments, of changes to submission times for the assignments, which are the formative assessments, so that students are always aware of what is waiting for you, and that students are aware of any risks that may come along, and that I will refer to in the second part of my presentation. So what is student support? And that is firstly that we make sure that from a communications perspective, that with regards to the sales and the registration process, that you are fully briefed on all the steps that need to be taken. So once you are registered as a student, you will receive a communication from us, and we will then ensure that we have made you aware of all of the boxes that needed to be ticked in terms of the sales and the registration process, and confirm that that is in place. And we then, and you will see in the next slide, which Maria, you don't have to go to as yet, and sorry, Maria, I made you think we must move along. If you can go back, please. Thank you. The academic journey, which I will go through in detail when the next slide comes up, is a very valuable tool. It's an interactive tool, and we make that available to all students. And we say, if ever you have any questions, use that academic journey wheel. It will show you what the next process is in your semester, what is the next event, who should you contact, where do you get information, and how are you assisted. During the assignment submission period, we are regularly in contact with students. And if we find that a student did not submit an assignment, then we will send you an email to say, our records show that you did not do so that you can immediately then see what the cause was. Perhaps you have done so and we did not receive it. And students who submit an assignment will have 24 hours after the closing date for another submission, with some marks being deducted because it's late, but we will communicate with you in that time so that you can still submit. We assist you with the preparation of and during the examination. So we make sure that you have all the information that you require. Angela referred to how-to guides. We make that available to you, which they are all available on eLearn as a set of how-to guides in the various modules, in the various sections that you interact in. And then during the exams, we make sure that you know what the requirements are, what you need to do. And for example, in the first semester next year, we are still going to have online examinations. We don't foresee that it will be sit-down examinations. Your student results are released via a student portal. So you have your own portal where you have information available. that you can access, and your results are released there, and we make students aware of that. And then, as is the case right now, we have made communications available to all students who qualify for supplementary exams. And we make sure students know what the criteria are to qualify for a supplementary exam. We make sure that you know when it is. We communicate with you to ensure that you are sufficiently prepared, and book, because a student may qualify for a supplementary exam, but may make the decision not to actually take that examination. Maria, thank you. If we can have the next slide. So very briefly, in terms of that wheel, if you look to the right of the purple graduation wedge, the heading there is registration. So when you receive this and you click on any of those elements, it will provide you with all the information that you need. And as firstly, you need to register. And so prospective students can find this on our website as well, for example. But the next step is then that you receive your welcome material. So from the Student Affairs Department, and specifically Student Support, we send you all the information in a welcome email, and thank you for joining us, and make information available to you. We then guide you as to how you access your study material. That's all on eLearn, which Angela explained to you. And then your study period, that we say, how many hours do you need to study? What does notional hours mean? What does that mean, or how many hours should you spend per module? You then submit your assignments, and they are all online, and they are either an upload in certain instances, mostly also, and it depends from from assignment to assignment, also an e-activity where you go into the eLearn platform and you answer the questions there live, and then submit that. Then we have the release of the assignment results, and there's a whole process there also that we communicate with students, make them aware of the importance of how to query a result. So if you feel, but maybe this result is not what it should be, there's a formal process to have that queried. The point 7 there says write exams. That is the traditional format. We will, however, follow the online examinations. The next step then being receiving the semester results, then the supplementary exams. And then finally, when all goes well, you will receive your final results and the opportunity then to register for a next semester, or as happens every year, the graduation ceremonies, which for us is a highlight, where we thank the students for being part of our student alumni group then going forward from there. And we request and ask that all students refer to this document. It really, in terms of its interactivity, provides lots of information. Thank you, Maria. So what is very important for us as the student support team is, for us, one of the most critical reasons we exist is that we inform you of risks. And what are those risks? If you do not spend sufficient time on eLearn, it means to us that you are either perhaps not fully aware of it as you should be, you are not engaging with your academic material as you should. The more you engage with your academic material, the better you know what's going on. The more you have exposed yourself to the questions as posed by the lecturers. And it's critical to follow those e-discussion forums, critical to follow the PACER, as Angela has mentioned, and get involved in eLearn. Make sure you know what's going on. Be the master of the content. You can only do that by being active. If you are attending any of the e-tutorials at any of the student support centers, it doesn't do away with eLearn, because you need to be able to access your assignments on eLearn. You need to be able to submit on eLearn. So we look at that, and if we then say, but you are below the average for your cohort, your same group of students, so if you're doing the BCom and your access is less than the average, we make you aware of that. As I've mentioned earlier, if you did not submit an assignment, we make you aware of that. You will receive an email. And for the e-activities, that is then a different challenge, because that is an online closing date, and if you have then not submitted it, then that becomes a problem. But you still get informed about it. In terms of the first one, where you have to submit a document and there is a late period, you will be informed and say, you only have now a day left to submit. So that is a risk, because you lose 20% depending on the module. You then lose 20% of your final semester mark if you do not submit a specific assignment. And if you don't submit two, you've lost 40% of your potential result. And we also communicate to all our students who have not completed the examination, and we say, you have not. What is the reason for this? Is a questionnaire that we send out to students, and we then also make students aware of the fact that you didn't submit or didn't complete the examination. And it may seem that, you know, a student should know if they didn't complete or take part in the examination, but because they are online, we have found that some students had incorrectly submitted and accessed the examination on the wrong folder or the wrong space within eLearn. It hardly ever happens, but we just put it in writing that we did not receive your final examination. So in essence, student support is there to ensure that you are fully informed during your journey, your academic journey for all the years you are with us. We also then make sure that we inform you of risks. And then we finally also make sure that we are in contact with you, or allow you to contact us. I should rather have said that, so that you can contact us, and you will have information of that. And that is a help me email address. And we will make you aware of that, and you can contact us, and we are proud to say that we answer queries under half an hour, and always available to assist you. I'm going to then ask, now that I'm done, for Angela to deal with any questions, should there be any. And then, as you see on the screen currently, you can send any specific queries to the email address maria@immgsm.ac.za. Thank you very much, Angela.
Thank you very much, Lars. Thank you, Terrell. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Marcia. Thank you, Anissa. Please, the floor is open. You are welcome to ask questions in the chat. Comments are also more than welcome. And yeah, from our point of view, just to thank you for staying on for the hour and a half. You can see that we're extremely passionate about our organization, and I can honestly tell you that you won't have what we call in psychology terms the cognitive dissonance after you've purchased something, to go, oh, have I made the right choice? Choosing to study with the IMM is an investment in your future that will give you rewards and benefits. And yeah, we really look forward to answering any questions that you may have. See, the chat is quite quiet. Okay, so it doesn't seem like there are any questions. Either we are very comprehensive or we've bamboozled you completely. But from our side, just, yeah, those of you who are still writing your matric, all the best. We look forward to seeing you in March when we start our new semester. For those of you who are working, we hope you have a really good break over the festive season, and that you come back refreshed and ready to start your studies with the IMM. Thank you very much, and I think we can close the session. Thanks. Yes, thanks everybody. It's a pleasure, Lars. Thank you. Thank you, Zinhle. So, Liam, you've asked a question. I'm just going to quickly repeat it. Is it possible to do an online degree and switch to a campus? So that approach is called blended, and all our degrees are online. As Irene discussed, you actually have the opportunity to go to an SSC, where it is a campus kind of environment, and it depends on how your budget is. But yeah, you are welcome to, it's not, with us, you don't switch between campus and degree. you've got your degree and you can use the campus, or you can carry on online. It's not an either or, you can actually do both. Does that answer your question, Liam? Cool, thanks. Anybody else? Brilliant. Be safe. It looks like it's going to be a rainy weekend, so be safe on the roads as well. Thanks. Thank you, Charmaine.